Welcome back to Giants' latest. Minicamp is officially over, which means that the team and us get a 4-week break of Giants football before they return for training camp, which starts July 23rd and it's open to the public. So we will talk about that more as it gets closer. But in the meantime, let's wrap up minicamp and talk about some highlights from it. So I want to talk about Abdul Carter because, oh my God, everything I see about him gets me so excited. And, the beat writers who are reporting on everything that they're seeing, the fact that they are so excited, especially someone like Art Stapleton, who has decades of covering this football team and has so many different players come and go. The fact that he's saying, we're allowed to be and should be getting excited about Abdul Carter because he really is different is so exciting. I cannot wait to watch this guy on the field. And the other thing I want to talk about with Abdul Carter is obviously there was a lot of talk and concern about this stress fracture that he had in his foot before the draft. And the Giants have been so conservative about all of these players who are coming back from injury. It's why we didn't see Malik Neighbors basically at all throughout OTAs and minicamp. And we haven't seen a lot of Darius Alexander and Scadaboo and Bobby O. The list is long of players who haven't gotten a lot of reps because of that. The fact that Abdul Carter has played throughout all of OTAs and minicamp should tell us everything we need to know about the fact that this guy is healthy, he's ready to go, and there are no issues there. So that should be a relief to everyone and anyone who was concerned about that and the shoulder. If the Giants didn't limit him during OTAs and minicamp, tells me everything I need to know. He's healthy, good to go. Cannot wait to watch this guy play football. Some other highlights, Dane Belton did a really nice job throughout these OTAs, and he notched quite a few interceptions. I think that's the thing that he's been known for throughout the Giants, his career so far, is that he has been able to get some interceptions. And, he hasn't been amazing by any means, and it doesn't mean that he's going to be the starter over Newbin or Holland. But I think what it does mean is that he's proven at this point that he is a ball hawk and he's capable of forcing turnovers. So that's something that I want to see from him throughout the season. I hope that that continues and that Shane Bowen can come up with some specific packages that are going to get Dane Belton into the free safety role, so he's going to have the opportunity to make plays like that. So I'm excited to see more of him. Jalen Hyatt is a guy who had a really nice showing at OTAs and even through minicamp before he got injured. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but he's a guy that's coming on really strong, and I'm excited about that for him. The same goes for Tay Banks, who's been very engaged and focused. Two guys that struggled last year that are having a new opportunity to go out and force their way onto this team to be a starter and to make plays. So I love that for both of them. I'm excited about a lot of the rookies. Let's talk about Dart as we continue to talk about minicamp highlights because Brian Daboll loves him. He is thrilled that they went out and got him, and he said that he has been excellent so far. He's really being a sponge. He's soaking in everything. He's learning whatever he can, and he's really proud of the work that he's done so far. And I have this note that I wanted to talk about that Daboll specifically said when it comes to Dart. And one of Daboll's ideas and plans that he does every year during OTAs and camp, etc., is he tells the quarterback to be aggressive and to make throws in tight windows, to make mistakes. That's one of the ways that you learn. And, I think that we all saw this as a struggle with previous quarterbacks with the Giants the last couple of years since Brian Daboll has been the head coach, that there's been some sort of afraidness, I guess, of quarterbacks willing to let the ball go. And Jackson Dart doesn't have that. And Daboll said he's not afraid to be aggressive. He's not afraid to throw the ball. And that's something that he really loves about him. He loves that he's fiery. He loves that he's competitive. It seems like they have a lot in common. I think from when I've seen videos of the two of them together on the field and when they converse and things like that, I could probably say that Daboll feels like they are very similar people. And that's one of the reasons why he was drawn to him and why he loves him, that they're not afraid to show their competitive fire. They're not afraid to be outspoken and vocal and, show all of the competitiveness that we heard so much about. They're not afraid to let it be known. And, I think that's great. And Tommy DeVito was asked about Jackson Dart, and he said, one of the things that he has that I think is so important is everyone talks about this aura, this like or Gen Z term of guys having aura and whatever. But he's got a lot of confidence. And DeVito said that's something that's really important for you as the quarterback to have in this league. And he has it. And, one thing that DeVito reiterated to Dart is that you have to continue to have that, the inner confidence, even when you go on Twitter and you see stupid comments from people who are not experts and, whatever, there's always going to be some sort of adversity and negative things that these guys have to deal with, but they have to be able to keep that inner confidence and believe in themselves. And between DeVito and Dable, we know that that's something that Dart has. So I am happy to hear that. He's progressed very nicely throughout OTAs and camp. And we're going to get back to Dart in a second, but I want to talk about Hyatt for a minute because he left practice with a leg injury earlier this week. So basically what happened is he left the drill, went to talk to the trainer. They both went to talk to Dable, and then they walked off the field, and Hyatt was not seen for the second day of minicamp after that. Now, the reports have been that it sounds like it's not anything serious. That's what I've seen from a few other beat writers who are at other practices. So it sounds like he's going to be okay for training camp. Everyone keep your fingers crossed. And look, whether or not you like Jalin Hyatt, I think the fact that he's having an opportunity and he is taking advantage of that, that's a guy that I want on my football team. That is a guy that I want to see out there every single week making plays. A guy who cares, a guy who's competitive, who's spending extra time getting to know the quarterback and learning from him and everything like that. That's what I want to see from my players. And look, maybe Hyatt was just immature. I think that's a big part of it. A lot of these guys are really young. I said this about Malik Neighbors last year too, when he was making some silly comments to the media. Like, these guys are young. They don't really know until they go through it. So I think Hyatt is one of those guys that is finally taking advantage of the opportunity that he was given and understands how important it is. And I want him to have the opportunity to continue that through camp. So it sounds like he's going to be good and ready to go once training camp starts. The good news is he has 4 weeks to rehab it, do treatment, whatever's necessary to get back to being fully healthy. And I hope and I think that he's going to take full advantage of that. So he's good to go come camp. So I'm not worried about Jalin Hyatt. I think he's going to be okay, especially from an injury perspective. Let's go back to Dart because there were also reports that said that he was getting a lot more reps with the twos towards the end of camp than he was throughout OTAs and whatnot. And look, the thing that we know about Dable is he likes to mix these guys in. So Dart has been getting reps with the ones. Jameis Winston has been getting reps with the ones. And I think the biggest telling point is going to be what happens during training camp. OTAs and minicamp are one thing. There's no pads on, there's no blocking, there's no tackling, nothing. Once we get to training camp and all of that happens, that's when we're going to have an idea of, is Jackson Dart really progressing more than they thought he was going to? Is he forcing their hand and saying he is making better throws, he is processing better, he's making better decisions than Jameis Winston? He deserves to have more reps with the twos. I really don't think we're going to see that until training camp, but something that Dart said is that he has been focused on being aggressive and making the throws, whether they're in the tight windows, whether the cornerback or the safety is closing in, he is making the throws and he's learning from his mistakes. So I'm sure you guys have seen these reports that came out of OTAs that, oh, Jackson Dart threw X amount of interceptions today and he had a bad day and blah, blah, blah. It's OTAs and minicamp, number one. He's making the mistakes and he's learning from them. Number two, this is what Dable told him to do. Dable said, throw the goddamn ball. Throw it. Don't be afraid. If you make the mistake, we're going to go back and we're going to watch the film and we're going to figure out how to fix it. And number three, that's exactly what Jackson Dart said in his presser. He said, look, I'm not afraid to make mistakes. This is the time for me to make them so I can learn from them and grow. And the other thing that he said too is, what's the biggest learning curve for him is that the athleticism on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL is significantly better than what it was in college. So he's thinking that he can make these tight throw windows like he did in college and he's going to get away with it. And he's learning that, wow, these cornerbacks and safeties are a lot better than what I played with in college. And I have to be careful because they're going to come through and they're going to make a play. And that's the biggest way that he is learning through this. And it's a really important lesson to learn is that these guys continually grow. You're not going against the seniors that you went against in college, even though it's the SEC and, it's some of the best football players in college. When you're going against Sauce Gardner, it's a little different. So, this is the stuff that's important for him as a rookie to learn. And like I said, now is the time for him to be doing it. So I think it's been great so far. I think he is progressing. How much further ahead of speed he is and ahead of the plan, I don't really know. Like I said, I think training camp is really going to be the best opportunity where we get to see that. But, I'm rooting for Dart, but I do still think it's in his best interest to not play, because not right away at all. The reality is, and I know there's still been talks about, Jameis Winston getting traded. If Russell Wilson, God forbid, breaks his ankle week 4 and the Giants traded away Jameis Winston and the Giants are 2-2, how confident is Dable, along with all of us, that Jackson Dart is going to come in and win us football games? I think he can progress a lot, but ultimately he's got a lot to learn, and it's in everyone's best interest, from the head coach to the fans, for him to sit a little bit longer, because we really don't know what's going to happen with Russell. And this team has had to play multiple quarterbacks throughout the years, and Jameis Winston is better than Tommy DeVito. Like, it's great that Tommy DeVito is helping out the quarterbacks. He's been here the longest. He knows the system, yada, yada. I don't want to see him be the starter this year. I just don't. So it's in everyone's best interest to keep Jameis Winston on this team and not get rid of him, because they need him and they need Dart to have the time to sit and learn behind 2 veterans who know what they're doing. So all eyes are going to be on the quarterbacks during training camp. Jackson Dart is going to be one of them, and we will see if he is really capable of forcing his way into the second backup quarterback position for preseason and the season. In my opinion, I don't see it. It's nothing against Jackson Dart. I think he's capable. I think he's smart. I think he's going to be a good football player. But ultimately, I just think it's not necessary to force the hand. We've got 2 veterans. I want to see Jameis Winston out there a little bit if I have to, So let's enjoy it. Let's give Russ the benefit of the doubt and hope that he's going to be able to make some plays and win us some football games. And Jackson Dart can learn and progress at his own speed and play when necessary. But stay tuned for more Giants latest coming your way.